Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for another 30-minute yoga class. So glad you're here. Today we're going to focus on hips. A lot of people have been telling me that they're sitting a lot more than usual these days and the hips get tight. That affects the back. So today we're going to open up the hips and try to get some stretching in there. We're going to need a strap. So if you have a strap, grab one. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf, a man's tie, dish towel, kitchen towel, whatever you have, just grab one. And if you don't have any of that, maybe you're in your office or something, that's okay. You can do without it too. But if you have one, just grab one as we're getting started. We're actually going to start on our backs today. So come all the way down on your back. Bend your knees. Feet on the mat. We'll just start out here. And as always, if you've been watching my videos or taking my classes, you know that I like to start taking a moment to be present in the practice. That's an important part of yoga. So let's do that. And just feel your body on the mat. Notice the 2 feet. See if they're resting evenly on the mat, or maybe you're leaning more into one foot than the other. Notice the hip bones. Notice if the hips feel flat on the mat, or maybe you feel pressure more on one hip than the other. That's an indication that the hips might be out of alignment, which is fine. That's pretty normal. But just notice that. Notice if your shoulders are rooting down into the mat. If they are, just tuck them in. And notice your breath moving in and out of your body. Notice if the breath is deep into your belly automatically, or if it's a little bit more shallow, maybe into the chest or maybe into the throat. No judgment, just notice where you are. And as you start preparing for your practice, try to move into a deeper breath, moving down into the belly. And then exhaling, pulling the navel into the spine. Nice deep belly breathing. It's really the best way to breathe, getting so much more oxygen into the body. And then as we continue with our breathing, bring your arms out to a T shape, palms facing up. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart, and just let the legs slide from side to side. So just some gentle stretching here. Your knees might make it all the way down to the floor, or maybe they don't. No worries, we're just getting started, so do what feels good. And then the next time your knees are coming over to the left, release them all the way down to the floor, or as far as they go. If they don't make it down to the floor, you can take a pillow under your leg so that it can rest a little bit more. Now you have an option here. You can just let the legs kind of fall where they are and turn your head to the other side, or you can stack the joints. So move that left hip under the right. So just pick it up and move it over towards the right, and then bring the hips, that right hip over the left. The knees are stacked, ankles are stacked, all while trying to keep your right shoulder on the mat. That's where that deep stretch comes in. So you can do all the way stacking, or maybe halfway stacking, or just kind of let the legs go, whatever is right for you. Turn your head to the other side. 2 deep breaths here. Great spinal stretch. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And then bring your legs back to center. And let's go back to that rocking from side to side. So adjust your hips if you had them stacked. And now as you windshield wiper your knees from left to right, notice if they feel any different. Maybe they're more flexible, maybe not. Hopefully they're not tighter. But just notice in every movement, every pose. As your knees are coming across, you can press your lower back down to get a nice massage of the lower back. Don't underestimate those self-massages. Really good for hydrating the connective tissue. And then the next time those knees are coming over to the right, same thing. You can let them just float down and be where they want to be. You can adjust that bottom hip so it's over a little bit more towards the midline of your mat and stack your joints. or anything in between. Try to keep that left shoulder down. Turn your head to the left. Relax the shoulders. A couple of breaths right here. Oh, that feels good. Good for you for showing up today. It's hard to stay disciplined and do a practice at home, so good job. And then bring your legs back to center. Adjust your hips. Nice deep stretch on your mat. Bring your arms up overhead. Good morning stretch, nice and long, like you're just waking up in the morning. All right, so grab your strap, bend your right knee, and put your strap under your left foot. And try not to lock the knee here. Lift that leg up. You can wrap your strap around your hands so that you don't have to hang on for dear life. Just wrap it once. And then pull on your strap a little bit. And as soon as you feel that stretch in your hamstrings, stop there. A lot of people try to go into a really, really deep stretch. You don't need a deep stretch. Just a gentle stretch is good. That will reduce the risk of injuries. So find that nice stretch that's really pleasurable, where you say, oh, that feels good. And keep it there. And then extend that right leg out. That will make that left hamstring stretch a little bit deeper. Try to relax your shoulders. So we're going to hold this left leg here in place while we're doing leg circles with the right leg. So we're multitasking, but the thing to keep in mind when you're moving that right leg is to not roll side to side on your hips. All right, so you're going to stabilize the hips by pulling in your core. So pull your belly to the spine, kind of relax your shoulders a little bit. And here we go. Lift the right leg up towards the left foot. Let it fall out to the side, perpendicular to the body if you can, and bring it back down to that starting position. So just keep going. Don't even stop. Do it about 6 times or so, but nice and slow and steady. It's not actually a circle. It's like a pie, right? It's like the quarter of a pie or something like that. But we're just trying to move the femur or the thigh bone in the hip socket, which the hip loves. This is what keeps the joint nice and lubricated. We don't do this motion in our normal life. Well, maybe for a dancer you do, or I don't know, but normally we don't. So we need to find time to move the leg in the hip socket, just like we're doing now. Let's do a couple in the opposite direction. How's that hamstring feeling on that left leg? Maybe you forgot about it with all this right leg movement. Maybe you're feeling it in your quads. Maybe you're feeling it in your hips. Take note of all of that, keeping the belly pulled in to stabilize the hips. That feels really nice, doesn't it? Let's do one more time around. Your hip is loving it. And then you can release your strap. Pull your knees into your chest. Thank your right hip for all of that work. And then release your feet to the mat. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Flex that right ankle. Take your right hand and push your thigh away from you and get a nice stretch through the groin and the psoas muscle. It's a very subtle stretch, so you might not even feel it. Just hold that for a breath or two. And then release. Grab onto the left thigh. So lift that left leg up off the mat. Interlace your fingers around that left thigh. You can stay here. As you exhale, you can pull that left thigh closer to your torso. Or if you want to go deeper still, you can interlace your fingers around your calf under your knee. So you choose how to do this pose for you. This is a nice another deep stretch for the right hip. Try to relax into it. We're going to hold this for 6 breaths. So this is a long hold, nice and slow. Again, a gentle stretch is just as effective as a long one, so don't overdo it because you'll feel it a little bit too much tomorrow. So here we go, 6 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, And exhale. Notice how the stretch in the hip changes the longer we hold the pose. Sometimes we can go deeper because the muscle is getting used to the stretch. 3 more breaths. Last breath here. This is a very relaxing pose, even though it's doing a lot right now. All right, release that posture. Extend your legs on your mat. Bring your arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers. Push your palms away from you as you point your toes. And then bring your knees into your chest. Let's roll up and back a couple of times just to get some massage of the spine. So bring your hands under your knee creases or in your knee creases and roll up. Try to balance on your sitting bones as you come up. Don't bring the toes to the mat, and then come all the way back. A couple times up and back. When I do this with the kids, we call this the hard-boiled egg, and they think that's hysterical. I don't know. All right, and then come back on your mat. Grab your strap again. We'll do that same thing. So strap under the right foot. Extend that right foot up. Wrap your hands around your strap. Heel presses up. And just gently pull on your strap. See how it feels, right? Go to that nice gentle stretch in your hamstring. Extend that left leg out now. And we'll just pause here for a couple of breaths, really enjoying that hamstring stretch. That heel is pulling up, pushing up on the right foot. Nice and gentle. Try to relax the muscles you're not using. So the muscles in your face, your eyes, your jaw, nice and relaxed. Shoulders, try to relax those too. But we need to engage the belly in order to stabilize the body, all right? So point the toes on the right leg. We'll start with that hip rotation on the left side. So bring that leg up. Doesn't matter which way we start, and out to the left as far as you can, and then down to that starting position. Up, nice and slow with control. Try not to rock on the left side of your hips, so both hip bones are staying rooted on the mat, right? And so notice too, if this side is the same as the other side, maybe this side is more flexible or less flexible. Maybe you're hearing sounds in this side. I'm hearing a sound in my hip as I open up to the left. That's all right. Just let that go. Keep going. One more time around, and then we'll do some in the opposite direction, working that the quads and the core to keep us nice and stable. Now in the opposite direction, bring that leg down, out, and up. And notice how the opposite direction feels different. It's working different muscles. So see if you can notice that. A couple more times. Keeping the belly pulled in to stabilize the hips, relax the shoulders. Keep breathing, of course, and try to keep your mind on your practice, not thinking about the next thing on your list. How's that right hamstring doing? All right, good job. Release your strap. Pull your knees into your chest. And then relax your feet down to the mat. Let's do that eye of the needle first. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Flex the right ankle, the left ankle. Left hand on the thigh. Push that leg away. Keep your hips, though, even. Don't let that left hip slide down. Get that nice stretch through the groin. Couple breaths right here. And then release. Grab onto that right thigh, however it feels good for you. Around your thigh, under your knee. Flex both ankles. Deep breath in and exhale. Pull that leg in towards your torso a little bit more. We're going to hold for a few breaths. Close your eyes. Feel the stretch. Find that rhythm in your breath. Relaxing into it. So even though there's tension in the body from the stretch in that left hip, we're using our deep breathing to shut off that stretch reflex. Remember when we talked about when the body stretches, it automatically resists that stretch, so we need to turn that off. It does that because it thinks it's getting in trouble, but we're in control. Couple more nice deep breaths here. Oh, that feels good. All right, and relax your posture. Bring your arms up overhead and stretch. And then bring your knees to your chest. We'll do some more hard-boiled egg rolls, and we'll end up in boat pose, so we won't come all the way down when we finish. You can bring your hands under your knees and roll up, balancing on your sitting bones and rolling back. This is where the kids crack up. They think this is hysterical. All right, last one, and we'll stay up on the sitting bones. So find your balance here. So in boat pose, you can bring your heels down if you want. You can stay bent at your knees. You can straighten your knees, whatever works for you. But nice straight back. Shine your heart up. Bring your arms out in front of you. Knees and ankles pressing in together. Bring your hands together. Interlace your fingers, index fingers pointing forward. Then we're going to twist from side to side. Trying to keep your knees where they are and just twisting at the waist. Couple more times. Just side to side, exhaling on the twist, inhaling when you're center. And come back to center. Release your posture. Bring the soles of your feet together in butterfly pose. Grab onto your ankles, sitting up nice and tall on your sitting bones, and just let your butterfly fly. Just getting more movement in that hip socket. A couple more times. And stop. All right, let's come into tabletop. And do a few cat and cows just to get some movement in the spine. So inhale, press your belly down. Shoulders press back, lift your chin. And exhale for cat pose. Pull that belly and chin to the chest. Release into cow. So even though we say to drop your belly, still keep it engaged. So the navel is still in at the spine, but the belly is pressing down. That gives a nice curve through the spine. One more. And then tuck your toes, come right up into down dog. We'll just pedal out a little bit just to release any tightness in the calves. Make sure your chin is towards your chest, crown of your head is pointing down. Pressing the heels down. And let's hold in down dog. This is our long hold. We're going to hold this for a minute. So find your nice down dog. Try not to lock the knees. Press your hips away from your wrists so your wrists don't get tired. So here we go. Find that nice, the nice long breathing with the inhale for the count of 4, exhale to the count of 8, or any variation of that where the exhale is longer than the inhale. And then melt into the pose. Relaxing the muscles. Focus on the breathing and think wet noodle. This is a perfect Release for the hamstrings, which connect to the lower back, connect through the hips. So if we can keep our hamstrings nice and flexible, then the back is happy. Keep going. A couple more breaths here. And then let's release the posture just to shake out the wrists a little bit. Shake them out. And let's come back up into down dog. And lift the left leg back behind you. Point the toe. And just draw little circles in the air in one direction. And then a couple times in the opposite direction. And then swing that leg forward, bringing that left foot in between the two hands. So you have an option here. You can keep that right knee up off the mat, or you can bring the knee down to the mat, whatever is better for you. So your choice. Holding here, dropping the hips a little bit. Steady yourself. And when you're ready, lift your shoulders and bring your hands to heart center. So holding here, pressing that right heel back, maybe dropping the hips a little bit if that feels good. Shoulders are over the hips. And try not to sink deep into the pose, but lift up. That's going to require some core strength here. So just lift up into the pose. Little balancing challenge. Inhale. And then exhale, twist a little bit to the left. So you can twist a little. You can lock the elbow outside of the knee. Yogi's choice. Find the one that's best for you. Try to keep your hands at your heart center. Be mindful of that knee. One more breath. And release your posture. Step that left foot back and pedal it out. And then pause in down dog. Press your heels back. Push those hips up and back. Maybe the hamstrings feel a little bit more flexible now. Maybe not. That's okay too. Bend the knees. And then lift that right leg up. Point the toes. Reach back behind you. Down dog split. Circles in one direction with that leg. Lifting it as high as you can, but most importantly to get that rotation through the hip socket. And then a couple times in the opposite direction. And then just bring that right foot forward in between. Steadying yourself here. Again, you can drop that knee if that's better for you, or keep it straight. Getting your balance here. So just find that perfect lunge for yourself. Make sure that knee is over the ankle. And then when you're ready, lift up. Bring your hands to heart center, shoulders over your hips. Heart is shining forward. Back foot is pressing back through the heel. Nice stretch through the bottom of the foot. Noticing, lifting up out of the hips. Nice strong posture. Inhale. And then exhale, twist to the right. So you can twist gently. You can go a little bit deeper by clipping the elbow to the outside of the knee. I'm going to stay straight because I tweaked my knee yesterday. So I just want to protect it. So I'm not going to do that side. But you go ahead and do it. It's a great twist. Great for the immune system. One more breath. And then release your posture. Bring your hands back down to your mat. Step your right foot back and pedal it out. Knees to the mat. And arms along the sides of your body into embryo pose. Forehead on the mat. Just a couple breaths right here just to reset the spine. Find the breath. And make sure we're still here present on the mat. So just a couple breaths in child's pose. All right. Let's move on to some plank sequences just to strengthen the core. Even though this is a hip practice, we always want to work on the core. So come into forearm plank. We'll give our wrists a little break. Step the feet back. We're going to hold for a minute. So here we go. Squeeze those glutes together. Pull the belly in. Make sure your shoulders are over your elbows. And try to have a straight line from your heels to the top of your head. So a lot of times we see a little bend in the hips, or we see the hips drooping down. Try to have it right in the middle, engaging all of the muscles and finding your breath. The breathing part is one of the most important parts of plank because it's a very strenuous pose, and the breathing helps us maintain it. About 10 more seconds. Pushing into the entire forearm, that helps too. Keep your head in line with your spine. Couple more seconds. And relax your posture. Oh my gosh, that felt good. Come into child's pose. Reach your fingertips towards the top of your mat and push your tailbone back. And then release. Come on to your back as we start to wind down our practice. Still have a couple things to do before we finish up. Come all the way down onto your back and bring your legs straight up towards the ceiling. Ankles and knees are together. Ankles are flexed. Bring your arms along your sides, palms facing up. So this is legs up the wall, but without the wall. It's not the same. It really works the legs, but also the core. That's how all of that is connected. The longer you hold the pose, you'll start to feel your core kick in. Roll your shoulders down and back so your shoulder blades are not digging into the mat. Notice your hips too. If they were feeling a little uneven at the start of our practice, notice if they're still feeling that way, or maybe they are a little bit more flat on the mat. So always be aware of how your practice affects your body. Trying to keep your legs perpendicular to the floor if you can. If this hurts your lower back, bring your hands under your hips. That helps quite a bit. All right, we're just going to hang here for a couple more breaths. This is great for circulation too, so if you have trouble with spider veins or varicose veins, this is awesome. So a couple more breaths, and then we'll add some crunches just because. All right. Bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers. Let the weight of your head fall into your hands. We're going to separate the legs as we lift the head up into a crunch and then come back down. Separate and lift and down. 3 and down. This is not so much a yoga move, but it's important in a yoga practice to have a strong core. So I always like to add a little non-traditional yoga core work at the end. Can't hurt, right? 5 more. 1, 2, 3, slow and steady. 4 and 5. All right, bring those knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. We did it, you guys. Really nice practice today. I feel, my hips feel different from when I first got on the mat. Maybe yours do too. I hope they feel better. All right, feet on the mat. Extend that left leg out. Bring your arms into a T shape and just bring that right knee all the way to the left side of the mat. You can use your left hand to press on that leg. Press it kind of down. You get a deeper stretch through that whole side body and the hip. Turn your head to the right. Take a nice deep breath in. And a nice long breath out. And then switch sides. Right leg straight, left leg comes over. Pressing that leg away from you for a deeper stretch. And then release your posture. Bring your arms up overhead. Stretch in opposite directions. Point your toes. Get a little taller on your mat. And release into Shavasana. We'll just be here for a minute. Stay with me here. A lot of times it's easy to stop your practice here and then go to your next thing on your list, but try not to neglect your Shavasana. Helps to seal all the benefits of your practice. So just close your eyes. Feel your body on your mat. Give yourself some kudos for showing up today. And then feel the breath going in and out. Just a few more breaths. And then start moving in your body, just opening and closing your fists, rotating through your ankles. Let your legs fall from side to side, just however your body needs to move right now. And then roll over onto your side, help yourself up into a seated position, and we'll just take some nice cleansing breaths, which is the most important way of releasing toxins from your body. The exhale is really important for that. So, of course, only do that in private with COVID and everything. You don't want to be exhaling into the public. But nice and tall on your mat. Take a deep breath in, filling up your belly, and open mouth. Exhale. Nice and loud in that lower throat, pulling the navel in. One more time. Inhale and exhale. And bring your hands to heart center. Oh, what a nice practice with you today. Thank you for joining me. Take a look at all the other driven YouTube videos. They're really, really good. I'm enjoying them. I hope you are too. Hope to see you here with me next week. Until then, the light in me salutes the light in you. Namaste, everybody. See you next time.